While everything is going on, is this is starting to upload, and is this starting to turn on all my
Different
Twitter
platforms.
accounts and
Hmm.
podcasts. And as it loads, I want to know and welcome everyone to Bridges Lives. I'm Dr. Paul Dyer. Again, with all my shows, I like to have all my special people are always special guests. And you always get to ask questions if you're able to. If you want to, you can always tag onto my YouTube account, and you can go on the Instagram, you can go on to Twitter, and I will answer them, or Godis Khepra can answer them as best as we can. But hopefully you find enlightenment on any of these shows and all these shows. So thank you for all your sponsors, and thank you all for the listeners I have and the people who download and share and like and otherwise. But let's get to it. That's enough about them. Let's get to us. that's,
Okay.
that's what it's really all about. It's about us. It's not about them. But introduce yourself, Goddess, my queen. Introduce yourself to the people of all things.
First, I want to give thanks for having me on. Like, this is my first actual podcast, and you are ushering me in this beautiful format platform of presenting myself. So, thank you for just bringing me here. So my name is Khepra. I was actually born as Alicia, but as I began my journey, my spiritual journey, I took on my more enlightened name, my spiritual name, which is Khepra. But I, along the way, have discovered a little bit more about who I am and taking on that name. I am a spiritual healer first. That's my primary. And then I'm also a spiritual coach. I do a lot of healing of women and helping them come back into themselves. But I also do a lot of work with men as well, because ultimately my work is to help individuals recognize exactly who they are and not what the world has told them that they are their entire lives. So,
A couple of things. It's just, I know that the universe, I so believe the universe is a cosmic relationship developer. It sent me to you. I don't know. It doesn't matter how, why, but it just drew me to you. First of all, one of my daughters is named Khepra. And everyone in school has always called her Khepra because it's from Kira Nagasta, which is one of the lost books that Haile Selassie found again with the Marcus Garvey and stuff like that. But besides that, but her name is Khepra. Yeah. So and yeah, it's I love it, and I'm glad you with us, Khepra. And you said something that you found yourself, and in finding yourself, I think people are searching. So I guess I think if someone's asking the question is well, how did you do it? Like, did you follow a light? Did someone drop breadcrumbs? Like, who helped you, or how did you do it?
I think it was a little bit of all of the above, honestly. But you got to be paying attention. That's the part that I think we miss, because we kind of come into the world pre-programmed by our family of what we're supposed to be understanding and listening to. But as I was coming up as a child, for me, I felt like there were pieces of the puzzle that was missing. And so with that, as soon as I was old enough to make my own decisions, I shot out and said, okay, I'm looking for the keys. I'm looking for the answers. I'm looking for the understandings, because there's something about myself that no one can answer, and I need to find out where it's at. So
now, I want to really make it clear for people. This didn't mean, and if you hear what she said, she didn't say she wanted to leave her family, because I don't think it has very little to do the reasons why we are searching more than the cause of the search. Because some people say, well, I'm so sick of my family, I got to go find something different. That's different.
right.
That has nothing to do with I am searching for what I believe it to be my truth, other than I'm leaving something I feel like I've been neglected of. Because that type of history can cloud you a little bit in your journey. It can lead you into situations that you're trying to fulfill because of something you left instead of something you seek. How would you explain that to our young brothers and sisters out there?
That was so deep how you just put that down right there. You know, what I left behind was Christianity, and I didn't even leave it. I just kind of stepped away from it, and I looked outside and said, let me see what else is out here, because I'm gonna give you the breakdown first of what my mind calculated as a teenager. Okay, so there are billions of people in the world. We all have different cultures. Everyone can't be wrong, but just one, right? Because there are different planets, there are different galaxies. So we have a multitude of things that exist. So
Mhm.
therefore, I have to honor the multitude of things that exist here in this earth. So with that being said, I said, okay, let me dive into other things. I still use my Christianity upbringing as it applies to certain things. So I didn't put it down. I just expanded myself to where I don't really turn away from anything, because everything has a validity to it, if that answers the question.
It answers the question for me, because being a Black man, growing up in Roman Catholic situations, and being a practicing Buddhist for over 30 plus years,
Mm,
people say, bruh, where are you lost, bro?
that part.
You're like, and,
Yes.
and I have no problems going to a Baptist church with my wife. It's,
Right.
and people don't understand that me studying the doctrines and the religions has nothing to do with my practice and what,
No.
just so I guess, how do you answer that question for those people who have asked you? I am sure as the day is
Mhm.
getting longer, I'm sure you have gotten that question like,
Unbelievable amount of times. My family, my friends, people who I have coached, like, how did you get here?
yeah.
You know, you know, I want to say it's the peace within.
Mhm.
That's what brought me here. Because if you have peace within and what you stand for and what parts of yourself make sense and ring true, it
Right.
doesn't matter where you are. You can step into a Buddhist temple, you can step into a mosque, you can step wherever, because you're clear with who you are and what you stand for and what you believe. And let's be real, everything still circles back around to the same system of belief and understanding.
That's right.
We just have different perspectives. And so for what I've been doing and the work that I've been doing, that has been the key thing of helping people recognize their perspective may be a little bit off key with themselves and the world around them, and their roles within the world around them.
And,
So
and and I have stepped into all those buildings, places with love. I love
mhm,
I love human life, and
right.
and enjoy my time in all those places. Has nothing to do with, and still, like you say, hold true to who I am and what I believe and where my life passion is going, and
Mm,
where the light is carrying me.
right.
Because, and I teach the science of light and energy and vibration and how it does resonate within our
Mhm,
body and ourselves. Because people still say, well, Dr. Paul, how do you teach the spirituality? I say, well, I teach the resonance, because we are in resonance. We are moving through this plane on this type of frequency, and there's other frequencies of light. So with that being said, when people come to you, where are you at?
mhm.
Where do you hail at? Now, do you do it all online? Because with this COVID thing, and also, I hope you and your family and people around you are staying safe and blessed. I do want to get that out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I hope everyone, just as yourself, is just doing what is necessary for their family, taking in the right foods and vitamins. That's so key, building up that immunity, and everything else, and faith in everything as it plays out. That part has been the one thing that has held me down. But as far as, talking to my clients, I'm having to backtrack. My brain went 1,000 miles an hour. But as far as with my clients, I really work a lot of Zoom and a lot of phone talks and conversations. I don't do a whole lot of in person, and I would like to. I'm in Los Angeles area. I would love to do more. but I don't think that's what I'm called to do at this juncture, you know. So
Right.
I think it's all about the energy of the areas. That's a whole nother topic, of course, but I think the area called for me to be here. And then in that, I'm spreading my light outwards and not necessarily my base here. So I have no problems with that at all. But just doing whatever I'm called to, however, whoever, international or not.
Right. Right. You know, when we get called, and it's, there is a calling, there is the sound, and everyone has said it. No matter who or where I've talked to them, they say they have been called to this.
Yep.
What did that call feel like for you?
Oh, Paul, that's a deep one. Okay, so this is gonna go back to my origination of when I was a teenager. So as a teen, I used to have these really intense dreams of saving people and doing all of these crazy feats, right? And I kept thinking, how is a person that does these things in their dreams, or how are they crazy? How are they the devil? How are they evil? Because in my upbringing, that was what it was kind of labeled as, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one day, after I had gotten baptized, I went ahead and I said, okay, God, you didn't put all this in me for nothing. Please tell me what I'm here for, because I'm tired of feeling like I'm crazy, because I literally feel like I was a crazy person for a ton of different reasons. But as my dreamscape went forward, at the end of the dream, it was like, you are here to help them remember who they are.
Wow.
And I was 16 at the time. Can you imagine a 16-year-old getting that message and just like, what am I supposed to do with that? But it took me from that time up until now to figure out what exactly that meant.
See, that
And
hurt, that, I'm telling you, that hurts my heart. And I tell you, and what I mean by that, I have two definite meanings by that is, you had no one to go to.
yep,
Now
yep.
someone has people to go to like you. Right.
Mm,
And I want people to know that they have people to go to like you. There's other people. There's myself. My daughter
mm.
actually came to my oldest daughter because she has the gift of second sight,
Oh,
and
shit.
I knew what that was because of how I lived my life.
Mm,
And my great grandmother had the gift of sight. Meaning, if people don't understand what the gift of second sight means, they can see forwards and backwards, right? So they have to hone that in to understand if it's the future or it's the past. But my daughter, when she was in her teens and going to school, it made her very nervous. She's like, "Dad, I got to ask you something." I'm like, and I just started smiling. I started beaming, like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on." She goes, "You
I love
do?"
that.
She goes, "It's it scares me." I'm like, "I'm sure it does." But when and I
Mhm.
said, "When you're ready, we'll work on it." And
Yeah.
until then, she pushed it down so she can
Mm.
be part of being a
Society.
teenager, right? Being
Mhm.
society. But now that she's a mom and then she's doing it, she has became full into her sight. And I taught her how to recognize the different things between the future and the past and what's going to happen. So that's pretty neat. But I'm so sad that you you had no one to go to. And I think our brothers and sisters and people need someone to say, I need help.
You know, and that comes from our some of our ancestors who were also afraid of that and told that it was bad. Now, I don't get into the whole color thing, even though it's facts. I really want to work on the soul level of things, right? So because of the physical part, there was no one for them to say, okay, that's okay. This is what it is. Now, back in Africa, those who are from that space, they understood that when we got here, it was kind of washed away. So saying all that, when we picked up religion thickly,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff was rinsed down the drain in a sense. Um, and so that is the sad part for me, because it still runs through where when I talk about when I'm doing a coaching session, I'm like, hey, you know, you have the gift of seeing a person's aura, you can see their light, you can see da. And they're looking at me like, yeah, but how did that happen? And is there something wrong with me? And you know, there's all these questions
Right,
because
right.
society has made us think like your daughter and like myself that it was wrong. Even as a kid, like your daughter, I tried to fit in and be normal and try to be like the rest of the crew. And my subconscious would always tell me, you're not like everyone else. Stop trying to fit in. But
Right.
it's hard to connect the dots there, especially like you said, without anyone telling you but I had a good connection to source
Good.
enough to keep me solid. And that is my saving grace, honestly. Because as a kid, I saw a lot of spirits. As a medium, I've always been a medium, but I used, like your daughter, I would push it down. I don't want to see. I don't want to see it, you know. But I had to accept it and embrace it along with everything else.
And another one of my daughter, and she's coming to mind because she's watching. I know she is, and she's an empath.
Ashe.
And the thing is that those people who I call them indigo children, my indigo children, and they get labeled by all these different things that's in the school system. That's because they're not recognized by the system. And I try to teach teachers why I said, when I go to teacher conferences where I help with teachers, I ask, who has people in their classroom that seem like they just can't sit still, or they seem like they're always pinging off the walls? They're like, oh, we have all these kids on this and all these letters, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking it's really the energy you're bringing into the room. They're not being fed by you.
Right.
Because as a teacher, they're there to feed off of you. And if you are coming in there with bad energy, and I'm not talking about you don't smile nice, you don't dress nice, and you're not polite. I'm talking about your internal self. If it is not clean and clear, they will act up, and that is what's happening. And it happens, I would say, for more kids from 9th grade all the way down. Now into the higher teenage years, that suppression starts to come, and they have already been labeled probably since the 6th, 7th grade, like, oh, that's just that Paul, he just doesn't sit down. And I think that hurts our children too.
It really damages them in ways that no one can know until at least their 30s. I've noticed, because by that time you've already been everything the world has told you and nothing works. You don't feel at peace. You don't feel serenity. You don't feel like yourself. You feel like you're living a lie. And then depression kicks in. And then you feel like you want to either take your life or give up or just, you know what, forget it, you know? And so here we are, you know, the majority of the world is that right there, because I do have the strong sense like you, that we all have, I don't know, connections to the indigo children, to the rainbow children, to the crystal children. There's so many children that have been sent in to help change the wave of where humanity has been heading. And that too, to curtail what you were saying about the children in the classroom, you know, if you are a child and you understand things like this, and they're taking eons to explain it and get the point across, you've lost interest and you've moved on because your brain is on hyperspeed, you know? So, you know, I really hurt for the children more than anything right now. I homeschool my children, so therefore that they don't have to go through that kind of thing. And as well, prior to COVID, let me be clear, I was homeschooling my children. And so now it's like, okay, we've got to, I think, teach the parents so that they can understand their children a little bit more intensely. So
you know what there's been some schools, charter schools around the country, that has opened this type of work with children to not educate them, but to develop them.
Really?
Yes, I know 2 schools in Maine. I know some schools in Portland. I know some schools that just organically teach these kids. They're thriving. And I just know that this type of development works with our new paradigm that we are in, because this is broke. And we've known it's been broken for a while, but it's almost like driving on a car you just can't buy a new one yet. We're like, I'm just going to ride it until the wheels fall off. Well, I don't know if this summer did the wheels fall off or did it burn up?
Maybe all of the above. The whole car just got exploded. It's just done.
So, and then do I stand outside the car and go, you know, I could probably fix it?
You know, that's what they're up there doing right now. We can fix this. We can keep it.
You know,
no, let it go.
But you know, there's human beings out there that will say, you know, this is, you know, you just don't want to throw it away. No, how about this? do you think it's possible that we could get a different car, not this one? And people say, well,
Right.
I can see that, because people are so reluctant for change. It's scary.
You know, I find it so hilarious. I'm gonna have a side note here because as you're talking about this, literally today, I have been running around for 2 days getting ready to sell my old car, which is way outside of the realm of what it needed to be in my garage, and updating myself to this new car. And I had dreaded it, you know what I'm saying? So I get it, the concept of where they're at. You know, I don't want to, this old thing, it still works. I can make it happen, but you got to move into the new
Yeah.
because it calls for it. Like
Yes.
this energy that we're in right now. You can't have old concepts and understandings and try to mix it in with this. Like that, it just doesn't mix. It's oil and water, literally.
Which is great. Like I said, energy. Why did I start talking about a car, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is it probably came from you, that this is what you
Yep.
needed to do, and say, you know what, I understand exactly where they're at,
Yep.
because I too been trying to hold on to this, like, well, maybe, I don't know. And
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'll give you another thing that was very interesting about getting ready for our meeting today. So I was like I said, going through this, selling the car, finding the paperwork, getting everything finalized for them to drop it off tomorrow. And I'm in the closet and spirit is like, look, we need you to be still. We need you to be calm. We need you to be in the world and not of it. Because I'm literally
It's different.
drowning myself
Yeah.
in the responsibilities and what I need to be doing. And they're like, we need you to just be at peace, like be chill. So there's a lot that came with today, you know, but I'm sharing that because I think that there a lot of people need to recognize that there are certain things that we have to remember. You know, as above, so below is one of my favorite ones.
Oh,
One of
I
my
would
favorites.
just, yes,
You
absolutely.
know, um the golden rule, you know,
Mhm.
do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and then be in the world but not of it is my third. Like those, if I could just live by those three as a reminder every day, I would be on point, because those are the three things, the keys, they're not things, they're keys
Jeez.
that I think really help us to unlock the next level.
Godis, Khepra, I want to ask you to clean up for people listening, watching, downloading, listening again. What do you mean by being of the world and not in the world? Ex- See if you please explain that a little bit. Because if I think about it, if they heard it with you in your car, you were in the world.
Yep. Yep.
So even we all get there. So how do we know that we're like? So go ahead, explain that.
No, yeah. So being in the world, so you're having this experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you're not allowing it to consume you
Mm-hmm.
to where you can't think clearly, you can't stay within your peace, you
Mm-hmm.
can't move, you can't operate, right? But if you're being of the world, it has already consumed you. It has taken you over. You are now moving within it, and within it to a degree where you change everything about yourself to fit the paradigm that they tell you. So that is my understanding of being
Yes.
in the world, but not of it.
So it's almost, so the greatest tip I want to give to people today is, how do we recognize of and in? I would say when you're not at peace, you're in.
Correct.
But I'm always at peace. I'm always thinking about this. I'm always concerned about that. I'm not feeling well. My back aches. My knee hurts. My kids scream. My husband hates me. My,
Mm,
my cat has fleas. I
right.
get I get all that, but recognizing it and allowing it to disturb you is
Right.
up and in.
Right.
Because whether you worry about it or not, your cat still has fleas.
Right. Right. There are some things that you cannot change. And it's what you were saying is to be in the experience, have the experience, but don't let this experience make you.
Right, right.
That part. That
How,
part. So
how can people get a hold of you and reach out to you and just want to do more and learn more?
well, they can reach me on Instagram. I have several websites, one in the making, but my main one is goddessharmony.com. You can find services on I and Khepra L on Instagram. I actually have a different scheduler for that. But most of everything, my hub is goddessharmony.com. And yeah, I'm open to making any scheduled consultations. If anyone just wants to find out what we can do, I'm open to that too. And there is no charge.
So I want to give a shout out to your children, your family that's around you. Have they embraced you? Is it a supportive family now? Or is it just like, oh, that she's just going to do her thing?
No, I'm so happy you said that. Cheers to you for that, for just tapping in all the time. I love my family because they definitely honor every bit of what I talk about, everything that I teach them. I have 6 children and I have a son-in-law. So we're all housed right now by the blessings of the divine in this house during this time. And I've taught them a lot about Reiki and understanding energy and moving within that and understanding their power and tapping into their gifts. And they've not once said, Mom, that's crazy. They're all like, okay, I got it. But that goes back to what you were saying earlier.
Yeah,
These kids, they know,
they
know, And so my younger ones, I have 3 that are under 8. And they're like, oh, Mom, you're the greatest. Goddess Khepra. So they're so warm. I love my family. I do. My husband, he cheers me on in ways I can't even imagine a mate would. So yeah.
Well, I tell you, talking about your husband, I'm going to give him a loving embrace, because many men refuse to allow their whole being to embrace. I'm not talking about I put up with her stuff. I'm talking about embrace
Right.
her and who she is. And that is a strength that only a union can develop into this strength. Because most people think she's got 6 kids. I don't hear one kid. She's got them taped up or they're in a basement.
Yep, they're in the closet downstairs. They got some goldfish.
Yeah, they're fine.
Right. Exactly.
So, because I have 9 children, and then they're older, but it takes the love of family and grace to say, I trust you, and that's an energy that is unbreakable. And congratulations to you.
Thank you so very much for that. Thank you. I receive it.
Thank you for everyone for listening to Bridges Live. Please, you can always download this, of course, and when you see it and I'm not even going to repeat it because it's all that social media stuff, but I want to definitely leave the door open for Goddess Khepra for always coming on, if always new stuff. And we're in different part of the coast, so we need to keep sharing that energy from here to there and from everywhere. So thank you so much, dear.
Thank you.